we're not going to move because we.
This must come from Human Resources.
Sorry.
Never.
No, town secretary.
Oh, okay.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our Trophy Club Town Council meeting for October 25th, 2022. The time is now 7 p.m., so I'll call us to order with a full quorum with all our council members present this evening. We'll start first with Pastor Barry Klingon from the church at Trophy Lakes for invocation. Please stand.
Let us pray. Our Father, you are good and gracious to us. And Lord, you have declared you will honor those who honor you. And so, Lord, we stop for this brief moment before the important business of this evening. And Lord, give honor to you. You are the giver of all good and perfect gifts. They all come down from above, and we are thankful. Lord, I want to pray tonight for our mayor. Pray diligently for her that you would maximize her time and allow her to fulfill all the busy responsibilities that she has in her life. Thank you for our council, for the time that they give and serve our community. Pray you'd watch over them, give them wisdom from above. Lord, I'm thankful for our town manager and all of our staff in this town that make it happen. I pray, God, you would watch over them, bless them as they fulfill their responsibilities. Lord, we're most especially on this evening thankful for our fire chief and our police chief and, Lord, all the men that serve with them. Lord, we're grateful for all of our first responders that we have in our community. And Lord, especially tonight for those that begin their service here, we pray you to bless them, Lord, for all of them and their families, all of us, that, Lord, you would keep them safe, even as they keep us safe every day of our lives. Lord, we bless you today and ask that your face would shine upon us, your presence would be upon us, and you would give us your peace in our city. We pray it in Jesus' name. Amen.
And now Councilwoman Oldham will lead us in the pledges.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Next up, we have public comments. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the council on any matter. The council is not permitted to discuss or take action on any presentations made. Presentations are limited to the matters over which the council has authority. Speakers have up to 4 minutes or the time limit determined by the presiding officer. Each speaker must have submitted their request to speak by completing the speaker's form, or they may email mayorandcouncil@trophyclub.org. And first we have Ms. Sarah Monger, our president of our Trophy Club Women's Club. Please state your name and address, please.
Sarah Munger, 192 Durango Drive, here in TC. So, Mayor and Council, I've already introduced myself, so I can scrape that off my little list. Thank you for letting me come speak tonight. I come on behalf of the Women's Club to say thank you to the town of Trophy Club, to its residents, and to Beck Ventures for your support in our annual fall garage sale. So first, thank you to the town. I know that you guys were working a lot behind the scenes, setting up the permits. There was some great publicity around it this year, both on the boards and just kind of reminding people about the need to have the garage sale permits, and the fact that it goes to a local charity, to a local 501c3, and it's a good charity. It's a good way to raise money for charity. And I thank you, Beck Ventures, who allowed us to use the property at the corner of Trophy Club Drive and Indian Creek Road, which turned out to be a fabulous location. We were packed from like 6:45 in the morning on. A thank you to the residents of TC who donated items for us to sell at our TCWC house, and those who bought permits and had their own garage sale, and also to those of us who went shopping, because it takes a village to make this successful. So a special thank you to Terrell Flynn for serving as our garage sale chair, and to all of our volunteers who worked behind the scenes to pull it off. And thank you, Jesus, for the good weather, because that allowed us to get a slew of kind of last-minute permits, and therefore we raised over $8,300 that day. So that combined with the spring sale means that we will have roughly $13,000 to give away in scholarships to students next year, which I think is fabulous. And it was just such a great feeling to know we made that much money for next spring. So I've never worked the garage sale before, but I do like people's stories and their kind of backstories. So I had an absolute blast this time. It's going to be my thing now from here on out. So I found kind of 3 people and kind of some fun stories that I gave them all each sort of an award. So the first one was a little kid. He was about 8 years old. I gave him the James Webb Award in my head. I didn't give him an award, but he was sitting there looking at these books, which is, I'm thinking, 8-year-olds looking at hardback books. What's that? But he was there with his dad, and they're looking at it, and it's got space and science on the front, and then they're opening it, and I'm looking at it kind of over their shoulder, and the text is kind of small, and the pictures look complicated, and I'm like, that's a lot for me, but you go, little scientist, you go. So I was really excited to see an 8-year-old get excited about a book like that. Another one was a woman who was looking for some clothes, some professional clothes, because she was getting back into the workforce, and she was looking for some new jackets to be able to wear to her new job. And then the third, I called her the Fresh Start Award. And the third I called the most dedicated was a couple that came up from Arkansas, mother and her daughter. They come twice a year. They load up in 2 vans. They park one of them, they drive around town and get all their treasures, and then they park that van, and then they turn around and they drive around town with the other one until that one's full, and then they go to lunch at Abuelo's, and then they go home. I mean, they got this down. It's a system. So it was great to kind of just experience that, to spend some time with the day meeting people. And, you know, I think it goes to show you never know how you're going to make someone's day, whether it's helping them to kind of just find treasures that they can turn around and hustle at their own local flea market, or whether it's helping someone get a fresh start, you know, at a new job. So again, thank you very much for the support, for the collaboration, and for the community, and we'll see you in the spring.
Thank you so much, and let's give them a round of applause. $13,000 to go towards senior scholarship is no small amount, plus the other tens of thousands of dollars you raise throughout the year for other local charities and organizations. So definitely thank you, and all the Women's Club volunteers and board members and committee members, and for all you do. It's truly what makes Trophy Club such a great place to live and to call home. I know it sounds cliche, it is cliche, but it is true. And like Sarah, you said, you know, it's a little bit of traffic, and I know there's, you know, ruffles, you know, some feathers, but you look at all the good that comes out of it, from the people cleaning out their homes, fresh starts on both ends, for people selling and for people buying, and kids involved. I know my kids always like to go around, and I'm trying to sell stuff, and they're bringing more stuff in the house. I don't know, that's kind of a wash. But it's just a good thing that you do, and it's good all around. Aside from the traffic, I know that gets a little crazy sometimes, but when you think of the money for these scholarships and the people that really get help by doing the garage sale, it's a great thing twice a year, and so thank you for all the work you guys did. Okay. Now on to announcements and reports. First up, we have Chief Arata and Chief Wise. We're going to officially welcome some of our newest employees to the police and fire departments. It's a tradition for both departments to hold a ceremonious badge pinning when an officer or firefighter earns the right to join the ranks of their selected department. So tonight we will honor our newest members with their badge pinning, and we also like to honor 2 of our police officers who were promoted to sergeant during COVID, and they've never had the opportunity to get pinned with the badge for their new rank. Sergeant Barry Sullivan is with us tonight to get pinned, but Sergeant Elder Guevara is he not here? He's here. He is here. Okay. All right. Let me update that. Excellent. So, Chiefs, if you'd like to start.
Mayor and Council, and Town Manager Carroll, we appreciate this opportunity to be here tonight to honor these young men and women of both the fire department and the police department. So, the public safety community is deep in tradition, and one of the biggest traditions we have, in that must remain unchanged, is the badge pinning ceremony. The badge is the symbol that the community sees of our authority and our presence, and it's the one thing that we carry with us every day as long as we're doing this job. And there are 3 times when this opportunity happens for a police officer or a firefighter. The first is when we graduate from the police academy, and that's what most of you are here tonight to enjoy, that experience that we didn't get to have because of what happened with the pandemic. So the second is for a promotion, and we also have that here, both tonight. So we have new officers and a promotion. So, and the third is, of course, a retirement. So I want to thank you for being here, and I invite Chief Wise.
Tonight, these men and women will take an oath to take life and property, and it's important that we recognize them for their service in this community. Chief Arana and I are very proud of these individuals and look forward to serving them. To the families of our members, please know their service is only possible because of your support. So we thank you for your support. What we want to do is we want to invite our firefighters, police officers up here to stand. Call your name, please come up here. Personally, that will be doing that.
Okay.
So, first of all, firefighter Matt Heinig. His wife,
Chief.
next up is firefighter Xavier Gonzalez.
Do you want us to stay in?
Cecilia Valadez, please come forward. Abraham, Nina, come forward. Abraham. Zachary Sprouse, please come forward. Officer. Officer David Hollywood, with his grandfather, please come forward. Abe Montgomery, please come forward. And Sergeant Barry Sullivan, please come. So, the mayor. So, before the pinning ceremony, we now need to swear everybody in. So I'm going to ask the mayor if he would please swear everybody in. So would you please step forward and turn and face the mayor? And I'm going to also ask that all the sworn people in the room please renew your oath with us. So, Mayor.
Who would raise their right hands, please? I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the position to which I am appointed, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States, the state of Texas, and the town of Trophy Club. So help me God. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Can you hear me? Okay, Fabian Gonzalez is being pinned by his father, Jorge, and he's here with his family, his mother, Blanca, brother, Michael, sister, Evelyn, and fiance, me. Don't want to stand? Next is Matt Heinig. He's being pinned by his wife, Audrey. His family that's present is Derek, Lauren, Sydney, his father-in-law, Jack, and his wife, Maggie. Next up is Cecilia Valadez, pinned by her father, Jesse. And she is here with her family, Mother Maria, and niece Gabriella. Next up is Abraham Medina, being pinned by his wife Stephanie, and he is here with his family, his daughter Aubrielle, and Justin. Next up is Zach Sprouse, pinned by his wife Amber, and he is here with his daughter Magnolia, and the rest of his family, Levi and Chandler, and Nicholas is at his final 8th grade football game, but he is here in spirit. Next up is David Hollywood, being pinned by his grandfather, Jamie Borders, and is here with his family. Mom, Amy, Dad, Hank, stepmother, Penny, grandmother, Judy, brother, Brock, Aunt Lauren, Uncle Chad, cousins, Greg, and Jessica, and Jake.
Hollywood.
That's a big Next up is Caleb Montgomery, being pinned by his wife Mackenzie, and he's here with his family Finn, Grayson, Hattie, and his Texas mom Stacy. And finally, we have Barry Sullivan being pinned by his wife Kim.
I'd like to recognize Elder Sergeant Elder Rivera, who made it tonight in the room. Yes. Hey, everybody, maybe scoot in a little bit, and council will scoot in a little bit, and we'll get a group picture.
Should we stand on the,
Somebody get the mayor puts her here with a short.
do the ladder?
All right, you be able to see me. You cannot see my lips. I cannot see you. So
That's my line.
I learned it from the best.
My chin don't see your buddies.
Look at me. Look. Great. Oh, we got one more minute.
Thank you. Everybody would join us in the DOC. Mayor, council, on behalf of Chief Wise and myself, thank you so much for this opportunity and your time. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And, welcome to our new officers and firefighters, and congratulations to our promotions, and also thank you, families, those here and those not. We do appreciate you guys as well, so thank you for being here. Okay. We'll just give everyone a minute to
Yeah.
go celebrate.
We got a song.
Yeah.
It's going to be an empty room once
Yeah.
everybody left.
It was standing room only.
What?
Nobody left.
No, that water
See our
was just
level of
forming a line.
importance.
Sound like a fire drill.
For a moment, we were the safest room in Texas.
I know.
Tony. We got time.
I'm going to add that.
Jane borrowed that. Giving it back.
Okay.
It's one of the
On
sheets we
to
distributed.
item 2. We have an update from One Source. Town Manager Carroll.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We are closing in on the end of the fiber project from One Source Communications. So we wanted to get Brian Davis, who is the sales leader for One Source Communications, to come before us tonight and answer any questions that the public might have. We've got some questions that have been emailed into Mayor and Council that we'll be covering, but we also wanted to get any questions that Council may have and any questions from our citizens. It's being videoed tonight. Ms. Lind is going to get a snippet of this portion of the council meeting, and we'll be publishing it separately from the council meeting, so that any citizens that want to see this information moving forward can go back on our YouTube channel and pull this information up. So now, without any further ado, Mr. Brian Davis. Thank you.
Hello.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. So I didn't have any prepared statements. This was just more of an open Q&A. It's pretty exciting as we are getting towards the end and winding down. We're about 95% complete with the construction activities here, and the anticipation from my vantage point is that construction should be complete within the next 30, 45 days tops, and restorations from a landscape perspective and sprinkler systems and all that good stuff should all be completed by the end of December. Our team we're trying to push the construction crews to get everything done, obviously, before Christmas. There are some things that we'll probably push into January as well, but everybody's working as quickly as possible for that, because no one wants to deal with that during the holiday period. But great news is that Trophy Club is about to be completely fiber fed for the most part.
Well, we've had, in response to tonight's agenda item, we've had 3 emails, and 1 person signed up to speak. Did Crystal, was she here, or is that just an email? Okay. And these have been forwarded, and I know Town Manager Carroll is actively looking into these 3 emails.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Mr. Patrick Montgomery here to speak. Would you like to approach the podium, sir? Would you like to come to the podium? Sure. Thank you so much. And just please state your name and your address, please.
It's Patrick Montgomery, 418 Ramsey Trail, right here in Trophy Club. So, first of all, I've got to say this is the first town council meeting I've been to, and I'm very impressed.
Well, welcome.
And if you can bring in that force like you did tonight, that'd be really good. But again, I appreciate the opportunity to chat with you for a moment. Verbosity is something I have to guard against, so I'll try to be real brief if I can. First of all, the project is proceeding, and we see light at the end of the tunnel. But there were 3 things that I originally had concerns with, and Mr. Carroll, I think we exchanged an email as well. Thank you for that. And they were really around due diligence, oversight, and safety. I got real comfortable with the due diligence today when I went through the videos. Really, I did. They were quite extensive, and there were a lot of good questions asked. I didn't get through them all, to tell you the truth. I was looking for one thing in particular and finally said, this is good. I think from a communication standpoint, that's probably, which I didn't list as my 3, it was hard to follow the bouncing ball on this one a little bit. And it really deals with Canterbury Hills is where I live. And we've had fiber from AT&T since 2015, I believe. And it was really hard to get the ball moving on why is everybody digging up our yards? We already have fiber. And as I understood from what I was reading and what I think is on tape, that one source said they were not trying to compete with AT&T. And by the way, I have no skin in the game with AT&T. I do think they have good people, just like I'm sure one source does. But it was very hard to get a straight answer. And we were told, oh, you have copper. No, we don't have copper. And even as I talked to some of the crew in Hunt Communications, I'd say, see that little cylinder over there? That says fiber. Yeah. And see that box on the house over here? That's fiber. Even to the point the operations manager and I had a discussion with. He got the things I had resolved, but that kind of leads to, but by the way, I commend the council on the due diligence that occurred. The oversight part probably bleeds into the safety part. No pun intended. I know that we were out of town, came back, and saw the hole, and it was late at night in our yard, and of course, we've been seeing the flags all over the place, but we weren't sure why they were digging, but it was 5 or 6 days before they even put cones around the hole. I did talk to the gentlemen that were working, and of course they were workers, and I try to be as nice as I possibly could be without being an old grouchy guy that's retired and probably has nothing better to do, which isn't exactly true. But I was concerned that the digging was occurring before all the flagging, the 811 flags went up. The only flags that were up were the gas, Atmos. The Encore flags, nothing was sprayed, and that was in the first 4 or 5 days. And nothing was marked as far as the fiber. And I'm not here to grind on that. I'm just trying to give you some input from a homeowner standpoint, which I think is helpful to each of the council members as you look at a project and try to assess how successful was it. You're completing it. I don't think anything blew up. There were some issues, I know, with water lines, and of course with sprinkler, I had some drip lines cut. Frank, I don't know if Frank is here, Granger.
He's not.
Okay. I spoke with him, and he got it took me, again, 4 or 5 days to get a reply or get in touch with him, but he did come by. We got the drip lines all fixed, but he pushed back pretty hard on, he kept saying, there's copper. We couldn't get over that everybody said, no, you don't have fiber. So that was frustrating, but you know what, we got over it. But my biggest issue is the safety part. And I think, I know Hunt, I don't know the relationship with One Source, whether there's co-ownership or you're just business partners.
They're contract.
Okay, I felt they were probably now outsourced.
Well, thank you, Mr. Montgomery, and he's
Time's
here
up.
I'm so sorry,
No.
but he is here to absolutely respond to your questions. I think you went over everything.
Yes, ma'am,
Your
and
full
I really
items.
wanted the council to have a perspective too.
Oh,
because it did
absolutely.
disrupt just generally everybody in our neighborhood.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for being here,
Thank
and
you
like I
for
said, please stay while he responds to.
Well, no,
to your-
I thank you for that feedback as well. From my vantage point, a big takeaway that I get, really there's 2 big takeaways that I get. You said a lot, and a lot of it was valuable. The 2 big things that are takeaways for me, one from the safety perspective. So let's kind of touch on that. I can't speak to that just because. However, I will go back and speak with our construction crew and our foremen, because safety is something that you can't do business in a frivolous manner where you don't have safety first. Because if you injure your crew, if you injure bystanders, if you injure your customers, then all bets are off. We've got a large problem. And to your point, it's a very simple and it's a common practice where cones are placed around any areas that's dug and a hole is left. If there's trenchiness there's a hole in the ground, we need to have cones placed around it, so that way you can avoid, stepping in it. So that's a conversation that we'll have, lesson learned. I can tell you it's not common that I've heard that. Can I say that I've never heard that? No. Is it a common issue? No, not at all. So I apologize if that happened in your case. And I will
I can tell you that they did correct that after I brought it.
Absolutely. Good. And the second aspect and takeaway that you pointed out was ultimately, hey, I'm a homeowner. I've kind of gone through this once. I hear you tell me you're not going to build in an area that already has fiber, but yet here you are digging up my lawn. What's going on? That's frustrating. I do frustrate. So I get it. And all I can say is I apologize on that. This was actually something Wade and I talked about a little bit as well, where because we do not, as a business, I do not approve us building into areas where AT&T already has fiber established. We have zero interest in competing against AT&T's fiber head-to-head. And ultimately what we go by are, there's maps from an FCC data map that says here are the networks that are put in place. Is it coax, is it copper, is it fiber? We go by the maps that are red, and then we'll have our construction crews go out there, and as you mentioned, they didn't catch it up front. We thought it was copper out here. So all I can do is make decisions based upon the data that I'm provided and the public data that I can access via the FCC, and that all said copper. Unfortunately, it wasn't, and now I'm just kind of like, great, because, you know, it's challenging, because it's not an inexpensive endeavor, and to know that there's not a lot of benefit for you to have my fiber there because you're appreciative of the fiber you have, that means that I kind of did it for nothing. So that's just a lesson learned, and we've already talked about that with the crews in terms of doing a better job of locate. I can't do anything with the FCC data. That is what it is, and so, but I'm glad things are coming to a head, and we're wrapping things up and getting things cleaned up.
Well, I appreciate your fairness on your answer. And again, I'm not here to grind on it, but it I'm said.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, if anybody has a problem, there's a measure we have to do about it.
Yep. Yes, sir.
That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Sheridan.
Yeah, Mr. Davis. At my house, you guys broke the sprinkler head?
Yes.
You were ready to fix it, and you did. You dug a couple holes, extras that were not used. You repaired it. Frank came out because I told him, I talked to him during this trial, and I said I'm going to check my sprinkler system that night to make sure it's right. And he did check back the next day and say, was it? And it was. So I appreciate that. I do have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
The emails that the mayor was referencing, I sure would like to have a public comment on that. Maybe not tonight because you may not be prepared, but if you would, let us know what the answers are, because these are our citizens. Two, how do I know when you're finished at my house? Okay, that's one. And the other is, when is anybody going to contact me saying the service is ready and do you want it?
Yes.
That's my question. Thank you.
Great question. So I'm any public Q&A that we've actually done that a couple of times, and I'll be more than happy to, we can kick off public Q&As at any point in time, and you guys can post any answers you want. So that's a yes. In terms of how do you know when they're done at your home, once they've kind of covered all the hose, sealed everything off, and you see the rigs kind of going off, that's when you kind of know that they're done. Because once they put that sod back on top, they're done digging, they're done pulling, and the home is at that point pretty much ready to be lit. Yes, you will have someone contacting you to let you know that we're ready to turn up. One thing with the construction is one part of it, right? We've got to get it pulled through the network, get in your yard, do all those things. But we also, on the back end, need to make sure, I'm sure you see like big cabinets in neighborhoods, and you're wondering, what's all that big optical equipment in there? And then you got to go back to the central office and all that. So you've got to make sure there's optical gear that's ready and it's lit, so that way we can feed serving area 3, 4, and 5 that are coming up now, and all that good stuff as well. And we do testing before we start pulling new customers up in those new areas that we build up. So we want to test it for a week or two for what we call a soak period, just to make sure when we spin you up, you won't have any service issues after having to wait this whole time going through all the construction. So we will be giving you a call, and you'll also see some additional mailers that are coming out that says we're now ready and you're actually live for customers. Up to this point, you've seen mailers and things on your doors that says coming soon, and so now you're going to see some new communication that says ready now, in addition to our call center calling you.
Okay, thank you. I have not gotten anything on my door saying coming soon, but I'll just make
You
that
should.
comment.
Yeah, that's good for
Just
me to
let
know,
me-
and I know your address.
I'll
so
let the other council people talk.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
thank you.
good. Thank you.
Councilman Mager.
If you have one of those, do not, no soliciting signs, they might not put it on your door.
Okay. I do.
You're exactly right.
I do have one.
I got a mailer that said it was ready. So it was a week or two after they got done in the front yard. The thing I want to mention, first off, good job on getting everything in, and I appreciate your openness and for the most part, the cleanliness of the crews. I'm an old military guy, so when I see stuff in my backyard, I just want to go fix it, right? I want to pick it up. And for about 2 months, there was a piece of fencing post that was stuck in the ground over by one of the trails that had one of your signs on it that said One Source Communications. That sign, there was a big windstorm. This is like 6 months ago.
Sure.
Big windstorm, folded the sign in half. That sign stayed folded in half for maybe 3 or 4 months, and then finally it fell off the sign, and it laid in the street for about 2 weeks before I finally picked it up and went through it in the trash. And then that piece of metal stayed in the ground until last week when I pulled it out and finally went and checked it. So what I would encourage you to do, I mean, we're a small community, but we're a big community. When you look at every street that's out there, every roundabout that's out there, but if you could encourage your folks to go back and just double check everything, wherever they put something in the ground, there ought to be something for them to take out of the ground. And it's super easy to miss that stuff. And that one piece of steel is something that somebody could walk into at night, right? So just cleaning that up, I'd really appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the feedback.
Councilman Flynn.
Hello, Brian. Thank you for coming, and I appreciate you being here and updating not only us, but the citizens. We've had several conversations about Canterbury Hills, and Mr. Montgomery talked about that. I want to go back, though, and talk about the maps that were incorrect. We know what happened there, right? They just weren't right. Last time you and I talked, which was kind of shortly after it was brought to our attention what was going on, you were kind of surprised, and I think you said, well, there should be a backup system here, not just a map,
Sure.
but, you know, we see fiber boxes, as Patrick said, they're right there. So I guess the lesson learned is not only the map piece of it, but there should have been some secondary
Absolutely.
fail-safe system that didn't work.
Absolutely, and that's part of the conversation that, and one of the takeaways I mentioned that came from the previous comments where I'm talking to the crew that's out there and I'm letting them know we're on fiber, and there's still a debate over, well, no, there's copper. Well, no, there's fiber. Well, here's the pedestal. Here's the O&T on my home. There's clearly fiber. One, residents shouldn't have to go through that length of discussion to prove out that there's actually fiber there. It's on the crews to know that and catch that, and that didn't happen. And so that's definitely a big takeaway that I've got.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem Lamont.
So we received an email that claims, was said that in the Inverness Forest Hills area, there's a cable that's been lying exposed above ground for, I don't have that with me, but it was like a month or so.
Okay.
Are you aware of that? Have you been given notice?
First time I'm hearing this one. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I get most of them that come across my desk, and if they haven't gone through a resolution at that point, I typically get things escalated and resolved within a matter of days from when it hits my desk. This one I'm unaware of.
Mr. Carroll.
Yes, there was a temporary line that was struck there at Inverness and Forest Hill, and I'll make sure you get this information. You can tell that they had got a temporary line because they actually have the chalk that goes over the top of it to keep the cars from actually hitting the cable. So we'll just need to get with Frank and make sure that gets addressed. In that same email, this is from Ms. Kiefer, so I want to just make sure that we get these emails read into the record. She also speaks about a tree that was supposedly killed during the OneSource install, but I just wanted to go on public record and say that tree was not killed from OneSource installation. That was actually began its process of decline during the freeze that we had last year. I talked to Mr. Jaramillo, our Parks and Rec director, and he's informed me that tree's been under observation for a while and it's continued to decline, and it will be removed by the Parks crew, but that was done from the freeze, not the OneSource installation. Those were the two main points of her email. And then we have a Mr. Schaefer who also emailed us. I'll have to go back in because he failed to put in his address, so we'll have to get his address for you.
Yes,
but at that address, there is a water meter shutoff that apparently had been covered with mud and then subsequently filled with some mud in there, and he'd like to make sure that gets emptied out. And he is asking the question of the time period OneSource or Hunt will be replacing sod in his area. So again, we'll have to get his address to understand that completely. And he
I
says
believe you
that,
said the Hogan's Glen area about the sod.
well, he
but not
said
with the
that he
address.
walked the Hogan's Glen area, so I don't know if anybody knows Mr. Schaefer, Steve Schaefer, or not, and where he lives. But we'll get that address for you and make sure that that's addressed.
I'll get you some answers.
Okay. And then the last one, let's see, was the temporary cable above the ground. So that was really it. The other email that we received was asking for when she was going to get the opportunity to receive service, and she emailed us promptly afterward and said, I've got that opportunity to get service today. So she was excited about being able to jump on it.
Excellent.
And the additional email about the sewer line?
The sewer line, yes, we do need to go over with that one. That is one that OneSource contacted the ones at 31
Timberline.
Timberline, that's right. 31 Timberline, I think you guys worked that out today.
I would say, I believe there was direct communication today
Resolution.
from both the hunt team and our director of operations from One Source as well went out to get that
Okay,
resolved
great.
today.
And then we did get a late email before the meeting from Ms. Barbara Arston, I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing that, regarding driveway damage on 26 Troon Court.
So she's been in correspondence with One Source to correct the damage done to her driveway. They've yet to come out and assess the damage or repair. So 26 Troon. So I'll get that information to you as
Forward it.
well.
I'll make
Yeah,
sure you-
and we'll make sure that that gets.
My head. I don't have the answer off the top of my head. I actually emailed that to Wade a couple of weeks ago, so I have an answer. Would you allow me to send that to you in an email tomorrow and you guys can post it? That'd be fine. Terrific.
It's 3,000?
It's like 3,300
Yeah, I
is, if
remember
I'm
something
serving, yeah.
about 3,000. So, but we do encourage residents, not just during, when we have a public meeting or an agenda item on, here at council, to contact us anytime, whether it's One Source Hunt directly, whether it's our town staff, whether it's mayor and council. You know, as Mr. Montgomery said, it's his first time at a council meeting, but, you know, email, call, message, let us know where there's an issue and we'll look into it. There are things that slip through the cracks, and unfortunately, that's just life. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That happens. It's bad that it happens, but like Mr. Montgomery said, it's how you handle it that matters. Then that makes a difference. And if we can get that information and help you communicate or liaise with One Source, we will most certainly do that and get these resolved. And as you see, you know, as soon as we get these emails, we're on it right away. Usually within 24 hours, we have some sort of resolution or in process of resolution. So with that, thank you for being here, and thanks for continuing to come and answer questions.
Yes, ma'am.
And also, Mr. Carroll.
Mr. Beach, 3,005 TC residents will now have fiber that did not have fiber before.
That's it. Thank you.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much again.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. We appreciate the partnership. Look forward to serving you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Montgomery, for coming. Look forward to seeing you again, Mr. Montgomery,
Yeah.
at a
Don't
town
let
council
this
meeting
be your
in the
first and only
future.
time.
It's very impressive.
Have a great night.
Bring the police force and the firemen and the women here.
Well, meet us over at Town Center on October 29th for our First Responders Day. We're going to honor our firefighter and police officer of the year, and they're going to have trunk or treat, and it's going to be a good time on
This Saturday.
October 29th, this Saturday. I think it's starting at 3:30, so we'll hope to see you there. And you can see all your first responders all in one place.
I've got a grandson that is very enamored with fire trucks.
Oh, well, he will love that. You should definitely bring him.
The fire department is going to have little fires for them to put out, I understand, so,
Wow.
so, yeah.
I hope someone took out
What
insurance
could go wrong
for
with
that
that?
event. And also, the open house that Chief Wise is going to talk about on November 5th, I believe, at the firehouse. Your grandson would love that, actually at the firehouse with all the equipment. So make sure you bring him to that as well.
I happen to have a source that says she has all that information.
She does. Thank you so much. Okay, and here we go. As I just said, Chief Wise is going to tell us about our open house on November 5th.
Once again, good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. All right, so each year Trophy Club Fire Department has an open house, and this is a great opportunity for us to connect with our community and educate them on fire safety. So our firefighters and our TCEVA volunteers will be on hand Saturday, November 5th, from 10 to 2, offering free food, games and prizes, apparatus displays, and other activities for the entire family to enjoy. So we're inviting the public to stop by 295 Trophy Club Drive to tour the fire station, sit in the fire truck, try on some gear, and meet Sparky the fire dog. So this event is designed specifically to be a great fun for the entire family, but we have an emphasis on fire safety. Information on the event can be found at www.trophyclub.org. Facebook page, Trophy Club Public Safety, Police and Fire. And if you just want to give us a call, you can call us at 682-237-2947. Any questions?
Thank you.
Who has to be Sparky the fire dog?
Councilman Lamont said he was going to take care of that.
First time a dog with a suit on, yeah.
So, hope to see you there. Thank
Oh,
you.
it's going to be a Chihuahua.
There's a really big payback for that one.
Item 4 is a proclamation of the Trophy Club Town Council supporting November 11, 2022 as Veterans Day in Trophy Club and providing an effective date. Whereas it became our custom to commemorate November 11, the anniversary of the ending of World War I, by paying tribute to the heroes of that tragic struggle and by rededicating ourselves to the cause of peace. And whereas in the intervening years, the United States has been involved in many great military conflicts, which have added millions of veterans, living and dead, to the honor rolls of this nation. And whereas the Congress passed a concurrent resolution on June 4, 1928, calling for the observance of November 11th with appropriate ceremonies, and later provided an act approved May 13, 1938, that the 11th of November should be a legal holiday and should be known as Armistice Day. And whereas in order to expand the significance of that commemoration and in order that a grateful nation may pay appropriate homage to the veterans of all its wars who have contributed so much to the preservation of this nation, the Congress, by an act approved June 1, 1954, and signed by President Dwight D. Eisenhower, changed the name of the holiday to Veterans Day. And whereas 8% of the population of the town of Trophy Club are veterans of military service ranging from World War II to the global war on terror. And whereas veterans serve our community through leadership positions on town council, town staff, and are employed by the Veterans Administration healthcare system and volunteer with the Metroport Veterans Association, Trophy Club Women's Club, Trophy Club Rotary, and Gallant Few to continue to recognize patriotic observances. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Alicia L. Fleury, in conjunction with the Trophy Club Town Council, do hereby proclaim November 11, 2022 as Veterans Day.
Second.
On this day, let us solemnly remember the sacrifices of those who fought so valiantly on the seas, in the air, and on foreign shores to preserve our heritage of freedom. And let us reconsecrate ourselves to the task of promoting and enduring peace so that their efforts shall not be made in vain. I make a motion to approve the proclamation as made, and I believe
Carl,
I have
you
a
wanna do
second
that?
by
Second.
Councilman Sheridan. And I would also like to recognize that we do have council members and town staff who are veterans. And of course, we have Town Manager Carol and our new Director of Finance, Human Resources, Denise, and also council members Sheridan and Monger. And then we also have one of our new officers, correct? Officer Sprouse also is a veteran. And also, I know I have a list of
Greg
Kevin
Booz as well, and Greg Booz in
and
the fire
Mr.
department.
Booz. So
Kevin
we'd
O'Dell.
like to have those of you here accept the proclamation.
Can I say something real quick?
Oh, absolutely.
On, actually, I think it's on Veterans Day itself, right? That's Friday the 11th. I'm going to do a presentation at the Trophy Club, Rotary Club. And when you look at the proclamation here, you think, man, World War I was a long, long time ago. But my mother's uncle, my grandmother's brother, was a squad leader in the Meuse-Argonne campaign in World War I. And I got to know him before he died. And I have his compass, and I have his canteen cup. I have a belt buckle from a German, and I have his 03A3 rifle that he carried. And so when I do a presentation on Veterans Day, I'm going to show off an 03A3 rifle, I'm going to show off an M1 Garand, and I'm going to show off an AR. So, and I've already cleared it with the club, so they know I'm going to bring some weapons in. But if you want to see the progression of what soldiers have carried over the last 120 years, come check it out and visit the Trophy Club Rotary Club for Weapons Day.
And also on Veterans Day, on November 11th, would you like to talk about our ceremony?
Sure. Did you have a report? Were you going to cover that before?
Sure, I would really, let me get up there. Do this the right way. Mayor and Council. So we just wanted to make a formal announcement that on Veterans Day from 11 to 12 p.m., we're going to have a Veterans Day ceremony in conjunction with Mr. Monger's association, Gallant Few, and the Town and Trophy Club. We're going to team it up together to put on this event. It's going to be a ceremony at the Veterans Park, which is 501 Parkview Drive, again from 11 to 12 o'clock. There'll be some speakers there, and please come join us and honor the veterans of yesterday and today.
And afterwards, we'll go to Meet You Anywhere for lunch.
There we go.
There you go. Can't miss that. And also, I don't have to say this, but I will. We should thank our veterans every day and not just on November 11th, and be grateful for their service and their families as well. So make sure when you see a veteran, thank a veteran. I know Carl's famous words, he likes to say thank you for our freedoms and not just for our service, because that's really what we're thanking them for. We're thanking them for our freedom. So remember that when you see a veteran, and thank you to my special veteran that's watching. And if Carl and Dennis and Denise and, oh, we got to vote first. Okay. All in favor of passing the proclamation? Any opposed? And it passes. If you all would meet me at the podium and accept this proclamation.
Yes, she has. This is.
I left the blue. And since you're the newest, that's you. Thank you. Thank you for our freedoms. Thank you.
Thank you all.
And also, that was Town Manager Wade Carroll, Street Superintendent Kevin Odell, HR Director Denise Prado, and our fire driver engineer Greg Booz, and our police officer Zachary Spouse. Thank you for our freedoms. Okay, we did number 5. So we're on number 6.
Yes.
Tony, I'm done trying. You're going to update our Parks and Rec.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you so much once again for your time. We have a brief update for you from our Parks and Recreation Board meeting, which was held on October 17th of this month. So we started our meeting by introducing our new team members, Cassidy Hill, Tim Reedy, and Daniel Wilson. They've been with our team now for several months and already have proven to be wonderful assets to our team. We can't be any more grateful for them being on our team, and they have already done wonderful things for our department, so couldn't be more pleased with them. Our second update was to recognize Mr. Tom Bath and Steve Babineau for their numerous hours that they provided to the team and volunteers as being part of the park board. And within that same meeting, we also congratulated Ms. Stacy Bauer and Ms. Stephanie Presley for becoming our newest board members, and we couldn't be more grateful for them as well. Right after that update, what we appointed, well, the board appointed Stacy Bauer to be the vice chair of the board, so she will be our new vice chair moving forward. Then we started on our fourth update, Parks update. We have our, if you have noticed, our Parks team, our Parks team are installing flowers, or seasonal flowers throughout the town. They started that this week and should be wrapped up next week at some point. And all that includes all our flower beds in the medians, our common areas, and all the common areas in the parks, and especially our roundabout as well. On the recreation update, we have a new program that's kicking off this year, and it's our full sponsorship program that will mimic our 4th of July event sponsorship program. What we're going to be doing is implementing a sponsorship program for all of our community events moving forward. And this is one of our ways to kind of well, to be used as a resource from our local businesses for our sponsorship program and get recognized throughout the town in all events. This includes 8 events throughout the year. So we'll be implementing that here shortly, maybe within the next month or so. And last but not least, one update that I'm really excited about. We have a great opportunity to make a significant update for our pool, our community pool and our splash pad. This particular update and upgrades for the pool will consist of 2 phases. The first phase being this year before, well, the goal will be to have this completed before 2023 season. And I was given direction to bring this to our town council in the near future. So right now, the plan is to bring it to the next council meeting for a detailed and good presentation to you guys. So, but I do want to touch on just what it consists of. First phase would be an update of all of our pool components. As you guys may be aware, the competition pool was installed in 2003. So there's been a lot of Band-Aids that have been put onto this pool and performed. Our team has done a wonderful job keeping the pool operational. However, it's about that time that we just do a full-blown upgrade to all of our splash pad and pool pump rooms. Second phase would be following the 2023 season, and that would consist of installing a plunge pool, which would be a great opportunity to host senior aerobics, water aerobics there. An updated slide, much larger than the ones there at the kiddie pool. A party room, which would be a great opportunity to host various birthday parties and other programs. It would be climate controlled as well, so that would gives various opportunities to do all sorts of good activities there. A shaded pavilion for additional birthday parties on the splash pad side. And update our splash pad features, and that would consist of probably just painting them and updating them on the fresh coat of paint and polyurethane. And then last but not least, there'll be an updated on restrooms, concessions, and offices as well. So if you guys have visited the pool recently, it definitely is showing a little bit of its age, and I cannot be more excited to offer this to our residents. And that concludes my presentation. And like I said, I just want to be clear, this does consist of 2 phases, and I'll go into more detail at our next council meeting with some renderings. I'm inviting one of our firms as well. An allotted amount of $4 million has been provided to me, not to exceed amount. I am confident that that can be done and accomplished within this time frame. But again, I'll have more details for you at our next council meeting.
Well, thank you.
And that's it.
That was a great update. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I want to make sure, first and foremost, I thank Mr. Tom Bath and also Steve Babineau for all of their hard work on our Park and Recs board. We thank you guys so much for everything you've done for our town, and also give a welcome to Stacy Bauer and Stephanie Presley for stepping up to serve, and congratulations to Stacy Bauer for vice chair. And also, I'm pretty sure you're probably going to, I know Steve and Carl want to speak as well, but excited to hear about the pool update. I know, as you said, it's time, and so I can't wait for the next meeting to hear all the details on that. So, Mr. Mocker.
I always have a hard time saying this. The Parks and Rec Volunteer Association
TCPRV
is going to have a table at the first responder event, right? So if anybody's interested in how can they maybe volunteer with that association, they can check in with them there.
Absolutely.
The other question that I had was, around this time every year, we shut down the soccer fields and we overseed. I haven't seen any of that yet. Are we doing that? Or because usually everybody gets angry because they didn't know it was coming. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, thank you. TCPRVA can be reached out through our website at trophyclub.org just by following the Parks and Recreation tab. And the Parks team just wrapped up the overseeding of the fields last week. So it'll take probably about a week or so before you can see that. You start seeing that seed germinate.
Nobody's been told to stay off of them, though. Usually they put signs up and nobody's allowed on the field.
Oh, I'll check in for that.
Because I haven't, there's tons of kids running all over that field by
gotcha.
Lakeview, and usually they get angry when they can't go on the field.
Noted, thank you so much.
Harmony Park has the signs.
Do they?
And like Carl mentioned, TCPRVA, our Trophy Club Parks and Rec Volunteer Association, it took me a minute to remember the acronym as well, but if you or your students, for credit for their service hours, would like to volunteer, there is always something to do. I get approached all the time about where can my student get service hours and credit for service hours. I guarantee you, Stacy and that team will put you to work doing something. So as Tony said, trophyclub.org under Parks and Rec page, or also social media, Facebook, the TCPRVA page, Trophy Club Parks and Rec page. You can also get in touch there for volunteer opportunities as well. And Councilman Flynn.
Let me echo what Mayor Fleury said. Thank you for the update, Tony. Excellent update. Good news. You know, as council members, we're always being challenged to think out of the box. So here we go. I hereby suggest that July we have a council meeting at the pool. Swimsuits optional, except for Greg. He'll have the suit on.
I can't wait to
That's
see
how
you in
rumors get started, Steve.
I can't wait to see you in a thong bathing suit.
Oh, my.
That wouldn't be good.
Mayor,
But we should really,
that's by Zoom?
we should get together as a group.
Oh, boy,
Seriously,
I
there.
can't wait to hear
July
about
in the hot sun.
We can definitely work something out, absolutely.
Where's Terrell? Where did she go?
She got and ran out the back door.
Oh.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Oldham.
Thank you for the update. I just wanted to tell you publicly, because I know I told you privately earlier, that I'm just so thrilled about the pickleball clinic that you're doing this Sunday, that Trophy Club Parks and Recs are recognizing how important that is. I think that that is the one thing that I hear more. We all hear complaints, but pickleball is the new thing. And I actually went online to try to figure out how some of the rules work the other day myself.
It's so fun.
Then social media, all of a sudden, you have it set up, and you've got a clinic going this Sunday at Harmony Park, and I
Yes,
appreciate
ma'am.
that.
And that'll be from 3 to 5 p.m. at Harmony Park, and I don't remember, Joy Macy's going to be offering the clinic. She's graciously volunteered to her time for 2 hours from 3 to 5 at no cost. There is no limit on the amount of people that show up, so I highly encourage folks to show up and enjoy a little bit of pickleball, and we will have some extra paddles and balls out there too, for in case somebody shows up without them, so no excuses.
And then also to add to that, Luann, pickleball project is still on the table, everyone. It's just we got word that Medlin was adding tennis courts, and we were going to wait and see how much court traffic that alleviates from the town before we determine how many and where dedicated pickleball courts will be. But for now, all the town courts are painted, right?
Double line.
Double line,
Double line.
so that they can be used for tennis and pickleball, not at the same time,
Yes, ma'am.
obviously. So we're still working on it. It is still on the table. It is coming, and I believe they're going to pour this month over at the school.
Yes, ma'am. They've already pulled permits and steel's already been laid, so we're just waiting on the contractor to come forward with a date. They've approached us to do a pour through the night, which is against our ordinances and against Roanoke's ordinances. So we're trying to get them a date that works for both our citizens and for the company themselves.
Right. I know it is still the fastest growing sport. Any age can play. Even someone not physically fit like me can play and have a lot of fun. So we know, and we're still working on it, but we have to be prudent, and we have to be good stewards of the town finances and everything, and we can't put in a bunch of courts if we don't know how many we need. So we need to be responsible and wait just a little longer, and then they're coming, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Absolutely.
very good. Anyone else? Okay.
Thank you.
Now we have our Community Development Director, Matt Cox. Your name is a lot easier to say. For Community Cleanup Day. I love you, Tony.
It is easier.
Can't mess that up.
Mayor and council, so this weekend, Saturday, is our community cleanup. We've got a map on our website. It's the same exact route that we did during the spring, 8 to 12. And our guys, and I'm actually going to meet them out there as well we'll be out there probably around 6:45, 7 to start setting up cones. At Byron Nelson. Yes, sir.
Byron Nelson High School parking lot.
Mhm.
There is a map online, tropiclub.org.
Yeah, because it went so smooth during spring with that layout on the entry and the exit, we're going to follow the same suit.
Paints,
Okay,
electronic.
Hazardous material.
What do they
hazardous
not
materials.
take? Maybe
yeah,
it's easier.
what they don't take, so don't bring any like hazardous material of
Radioactive.
nothing that's glowing, nothing that's radioactive.
It is on the website of what you
Yes.
can and cannot bring.
The most popular things brought, of course, are old paint. There was, I think, just a little over 400 gallons of that brought last time. And they also will have their paper shredder. So for anything that you want legal documents to go through, it's kind of a cool machine where you can actually watch your stuff go through and shred. They got an open window. And then, but not any like wood materials or anything like that. This is not electronics. So
I'm looking it up. Dumpsters, electronics recycling, shredding, and household hazardous waste disposal. Pharmaceuticals are not accepted in the cleanup. But if you go to tropiclub.org, and the first thing you see is events, community events, and you will see the community cleanup tab, and you can click on that and get all the information there.
we did get a few calls this week on some people that were going to be out of town, couldn't make it. So you can still take this to the Fort Worth site, and we have that on our website as well.
And there's a lot of tips and tricks on the website as well, I'm reading, to keep you safe. So make sure you look at the safety guidelines, because those are really important. There's quite a few on there. Because, we don't deal with this stuff all the time. It's at our house or our garage, and we're not driving around with it in our car, but now you're going to be to get rid of it. So it says things like don't
They ask
put it inside your car,
Right, put it in your
don't
trunk.
mix, if it's leaking, put it in a secondary container, things like that. So there's some good information. It'd be good for everyone to review just to be safe because, again, you're not used to transporting it usually. So definitely check out the website and be safe, everyone. And thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm sure everyone's happy it's still at Byron Nelson High School parking lot. I know the one time it wasn't, it was a big to-do, so thank you for keeping it there. Excellent. Okay, items 8 and 9 are listed in our consent agenda. Is there anything anyone would like to pull from there?
Make a motion to approve consent agenda items 8 and 9.
Second?
Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lott and a second by Councilman Monger. All in favor? Any opposed? And it passes. Item number 10 is an ordinance regarding the decrease in fees for customers within the boundaries of the PID. Mr. Carroll.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Annually, the MUD hires a third-party rate company that comes in and helps them design and create the different rates that they use for the CIP projects involved with the MUD and the PID, and their maintenance, their annual maintenance, the CIP, and their INS. So this year, that rate has come in a little bit lower than the years past for the MUD, and for the PID. So what we have, due to the dropping off of some of the INS, that's on, they're paying off some of their debt that they have. We're going to get to see a decrease for those PID residents, their fair share of the MUD operating expenses and their CIP expenses of about $1.18 per month per household. So it's not a lot, but it is a decrease that's happened here. And all of that decrease is due to the INS rate that's rolled off. So we don't have a whole lot more information on that, but we do have that good news that the rate is decreasing and that the decrease is from the roll-off of debt.
I make a motion to approve and adopt ordinance 2022-32 regarding the Municipal Utility District Number 1 amendment to decrease fees by $1.18 per month from $9.55 to $8.37 for customers within the boundaries of the Public Improvement District Number 1, the Highlands.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lamont and a second by Councilman Flynn. All in favor? Any opposed, and it passes unanimously. Our last item of the evening will be our future agenda items list. Mr. Carroll.
Yes, ma'am. The last item is the future agenda items list. The only major changes that we have are on number 5, the MUD confirmation of property versus services letter was sent out by David this previous week as requested by council. And then we got confirmation back from the MUD that they did receive it. And the other change is on item number 1, the update of the entryway monumentation. There's been some good conversation back and forth between our subcommittee of council and with Half and Associates. It looks like we're working towards that final design for entryways. I've gotten to see a second go at their entryway there at Trophy Club Drive, and it's looking really good. So we should be scheduling a meeting with that subgroup of council within probably the next 2 weeks for the final designs approval and any small changes that you guys would like to make to that. And that is the only changes that we have to the future agenda items, but we're willing to answer any questions that you might have or add anything further to the list.
Okay, Councilman Beach.
When do you anticipate the returns from the traffic survey? That next month?
I got an update from TNP that's saying by the end of October we should have them. So I'm expecting them by the end of next month. Or this month, I guess. This month is October. Yeah, it's still October.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, thank you. Okay, the time is now 8:11, and council will recess into executive session. Pursuant to the following designated section of the Texas Governmental Code, annotated Chapter 551, the town council will recess in executive session to discuss the following. A, Section 551.071, to seek legal advice from our town attorney.
A nice way of saying what's that?
Just had this in order. Ready? Okay, the time is now 8:20 p.m. and we're reconvening back into regular session. And if there's nothing else from anyone, we will adjourn at 8:20 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.